All right. Let's talk about this WWE
Ooh.
stuff.
Man,
Well, what's happening? Tell me.
Mate,
What is happening?
From drama to drama we're going to now, right?
It's like a harami podcast.
Rami podcast, yeah. Mate, this is big. So just to sort of give context as to what's going on. So last year, Vince McMahon,
Yep.
the guy's made WWE, the head of everything, he was, I guess, forcibly retired, right? Because there was a lot of allegations against him, sexual misconduct.
Yep.
And he used company funds for this to pay him off.
Yep.
So he retired around June, July, and his daughter and his son-in-law took over, Triple H, if you guys might know him, and Stephanie McMahon. They became the heads of, I guess, the WWE, running the creative and like the corporate sort of side of everything. So, fast forward to now, last week, Vince McMahon. It's leaked by the Wall Street Journal that Vince McMahon wants to come back.
Okay. When you say he still had ownership of it, right? He just steps out of leadership.
So he was off obviously working there in terms of the creative.
Yeah.
And he's off the board and he's just finished, retired. And
Yep.
he had a little tweet that said, finally it's time to retire.
Yep.
See you, WWE Universe, see you later. Yeah, so last week it's leaked that and this has happened very quickly, by the way. Last week it's leaked that Vince McMahon has intentions to come back to WWE in order to sell it.
To sell it?
To sell the company. And it's a lot of people were like, no way this can happen, right? Because his daughter and his son-in-law have been running it, some say even better than he did. The share price has gone up.
Yep.
And, the attendance, ratings have gone up, everything.
Yep.
So he's saying that he wants to come back to sell it and that, because he's got 80% voting rights, he should be the person to sell it. It's not appropriate for anyone else to. It's his baby. He needs to sell it.
Yep.
That was the rumor. A couple of days later, and by the way, like when this rumor was sort of heating up, there was a leaked sort of board decision to say that it would be a terrible decision to bring him back. Unanimously it was voted unanimously by all people on the board, right? That would be a terrible decision to bring him back. Next minute, he's brought back on the
board. If he has 80%, like the board has no say on it.
Well,
right?
basically, he fired
the board.
He fired 4 people. He fired 3 people from the board and 2 people that were doing the investigation into him about those allegations. They resigned.
Sure.
And he brought in his own people, right?
As you do.
He's back on the board. And then he's back on the board on the Friday. And then on the Friday, you have Stephanie McMahon telling talent there'll be, it's all fine. Everything will fine. There'll be no changes. He's just here to, look at the media rights and also possibly to sell the WWE. This is so high level, it won't affect what's going on.
Yep.
Come Tuesday, Stephanie McMahon resigns as the CEO.
His wife, is it?
Yeah, that's Triple H's wife, and she resigns as CEO. So that's massive change that she said wouldn't happen. And she resigns, and the day that she resigns, there is this big rumor that WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia.
Sold
the Saudi
to a Saudi.
No, to the Saudi Arabian government. So Saudi Arabia.
God damn, you can't do that.
Yeah, the Saudi Arabian government, they actually invest in a lot of
entertainment,
leagues, sports teams around the world.
The Saudis love WWE.
Yeah.
Is there a Saudi WWE?
So luckily there's Saudi. So that's another thing, right? They've been doing Saudi shows recently because they pay a lot of money, right?
Yeah, but is there any Saudi talent in the WWE?
Oh, I think there's 1 or 2, right? As part of it. So she resigns, and there's massive rumor that it's already been sold.
Yep.
And that's now it's come to light that was untrue, that it's not been sold. But a lot of people saying, well, there's smoke, there's fire, and they're saying that they're probably the top front runners, because what would happen if WWE were to sell to like a Disney or a Fox is that it still would be a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
I believe Vince McMahon wants to come back into power, into the creative side. So he's going to sell it to the Saudis and make it go private again.
Well, what's behind the motivation to sell? I don't understand it.
I believe it's Vince McMahon wanting to come back to power, but I also believe it's because it's his creation.
Yeah.
I don't think he even wants to give it to his family. He wants to just sell it off himself. It was his creation.
Yeah.
It's not his daughter's creation. It's not his son-in-law's creation.
Yeah.
He wants to either destroy it himself or he wants to sell it off himself and be done with it. And this has caused massive sort of problems. Like, because if they sell it to Saudi Arabia, there's Jewish talent there. There's a lot of talent that don't go to Saudi Arabia when they tour. Women's wrestling, what happens to that?
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
It's sort of bringing a lot of moral, sort of ethical, sort of conversations. Like, what's going to happen to that company if they sell to Saudi Arabia? And it's causing a lot of grief amongst wrestling fans, and a lot of people saying it's the end of wrestling because if they're going to get sold to the Saudis, then it's the end. But now we're hearing a recent rumor is that they have a rival in the wrestling industry called AEW.
Yeah.
By Tony Khan. He's the son of a billionaire called Shad Khan.
Yeah.
That they are also sort of putting a bid in to sort of buy WWE. So it's this big sort of big story in the financial world as well. There's that that we've got this big company that is possibly going to go for $10 billion being sold, and I think it's going to happen within 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
Drama. I tell you what, Triple H looks much older than he's done. What is going on here?
Yeah, man. He doesn't wrestle anymore. He's
the rig on your boy.
he's a corporate guy now, and he heads a lot of. He's a chief of content.
Tell you what, they need to censor Google Images.
But it is a bit sad in a way, right? Because we grew up with WWF, and to see all that sort of go down the drain and sold to, I guess, a bunch of people who don't really know much about wrestling, the Saudi Arabians, they just sort of want to buy because they're buying everything, right? Because what's
Money
going
talks.
on in Saudi Arabia, and I guess a lot of countries around that sort of region, is that they've rich off their oil reserves, right?
Yep.
And they know that that's not going to last.
Yep.
They've got projections, and that you will have a lot of money now, but
so you need to invest
in companies because this will not last. So they've been investing, I think, in PSG, and I think there's a Qatari, is owned by Qatar.
Yep.
And then there's Newcastle United in the EPL. It's owned by.
So they're diversifying across different business ventures, sports,
I think
other stuff as well. Yeah,
they have stakes in Disney and Amazon as well, right? So it really does bring into question, people are going on the moral stance, and they've got to go on the moral stance with a lot of companies. Then, but it just brings into question, what's going to happen now? Is Saudi Arabia going to own the world, or what's going on?
That's that oil money.
It's that oil money.
You know, Busta Rhymes said it right.
Arab money.
DJ Khaled.
The Arab money.
Arab money. Woo, this. I don't know if it's just used. This episode is just intense.
It is, man. There's a lot of things going on right now.
A lot of rabbit holes.
It's a crazy start to the year, I must say.
It's an interesting time to be alive. Okay.